Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm talking about the latest episode of Outcast. So, a really interesting episode where we just see everything fall apart for the Reverend. It's just, with every episode that passes, the Reverend things just keep falling apart more and more for him. He just keeps falling further and further into Sydney's trap. I even like the fact that Cher brings it up. He's like, you know what he's doing, so why do you play along with it? He's like, you only get one chance, to punch the devil in the face, so why miss that opportunity, right? But it's just like, you can see Sydney's plan is to basically systematically destroy everything in his life. Basically destroying his reputation with the community first because, he's been so he's been so focused on Sydney and just being caught up in his own BS. It's like basically having to deal with the BS of like, oh, I haven't been doing anything these past 10 or so years of when I was like, oh, I've like exercising these demons from people when actually I haven't been doing jack squat. That, his pride is hurt. And now just his reputation's been taken from him by Sydney, and he's just filled with rage. He wants to just prove it to people, like, you shouldn't believe Sydney, he's a bad guy, especially because Sydney is starting to make donations to his church, because I remember last episode that Reverend got basically outed by the church, and basically the deacons are bringing in someone to replace him. The real irony would be if they brought Sydney in to replace him. Granted, he's just there as a contributor, but still, nevertheless. I mean, you even have Patricia's, jerk of a son playing that card. Like, he's basically trying to help Sydney get rid of Anderson, it seems like, to a certain degree, because I was wondering what he was going to do. Basically, he kind of played victim this episode. Granted, the Reverend kind of let his temper get the best of him, especially when he found out that Aaron was hanging out with Sydney, told Patricia's like, stay away from him, Aaron, that guy is dangerous. And he's just like, oh, well, what about him? You think he's so righteous because you think he's right in all this situation? And the Reverend kind of grabbed him and was yelling at him. Was like, oh, I should get a belt or something and beat that smart mouth of yours or something like that. And Patricia's like, no, get your hands off him, get out, just get out and please. So, which she had told him earlier in the episode that he should move in with her. So, and you see Aaron kind of being smug about it, basically admitting the fact is that his dad used to beat him and his mom. So there you see a level of it, just because the Reverend let his temper get the best of him. His mom just had flashbacks with her husband. Basically like, oh, he's about to beat her son in front of her, she was being a protective mom, even though he's being a little turd. Because he's just like, you're out of our lives. I bet y'all won't be seeing you around anymore. And Sydney said, you're too late to stop anything. Everything's coming. And just left it at that, being smug about it. Like for him, more so than anything, it's like, it seems like he already has a love-hate relationship with his mom. Like the first time we really met him, it seemed like he didn't really care about his mom. It seemed like he talked to his mom whenever he wanted to. But now it's like, oh, now that, instead of worrying about her being quote-unquote happy, I don't know. It's hard to say whether he is legitimately looking after her or whether he just likes messing with people. It's like, I don't want you to be with him. Like, almost like he's miserable, so he wants his mom to be miserable too. Because he made that note about like, oh, I'm going to be out of this house anyway when I get 18. So it's like, were you worried about it before? Like, you know what Sydney is. You saw what he did to the Reverend, yet you're backing his side just because you don't want the Reverend to be with your mom. Am I saying the Reverend's 100% a good guy? No, but he's like any human being. He's flawed. But he's done nothing but be respectful to your mom. It's just you are there antagonizing him, and he has a nerve to be behind his mom, like crying, like almost like whimpering, and then afterwards presenting himself in front of the Reverend when he was leaving, kind of being all smug and everything about like, haha, now you're outed. So it's kind of sad. Like I said, systematically breaking him down. I mean, the only ally, literally the entire town, is against him now. The woman he likes and the woman that loves him is like complete. And I said it like that because I don't really know in percent if he loves her or not. She's definitely like, it's been obvious since like she first appeared. Like she had a thing for him. That was pretty much obvious. But that relationship is kind of hitting the rocks. And so the only person he really has left is the sheriff. Like, he's the only person that's got his back. He was basically there saying like, okay, yeah, the Reverend punched you, Sydney in the face. He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna let that go. Just like, but then Sydney was like, I'm gonna press charges. So basically he told the Reverend, hey, when you need my help, I'll come running. So it seems like that's the only person that's left on his side. Then on the other side of the story, we got Kyle trying to track down Allison. And then we had that lady that showed up at Allison's house and was like, I'm going to call the police. Who is she? She's not, well, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I was asking, like, who is she? I was like, there's no way she could be Allison's mom. Yes, she is. I'm an idiot. The person, because I was thinking, like, I thought Allison's parents were dead. It's like, no, the person I'm thinking of is Megan. Megan's parents are dead. That's who I was thinking of. But that most likely was Allison's mom. We ended up finding out where Allison's been. She's basically signed herself into a psychiatric facility where they've been basically medicating her to kind of keep her calm. And Kyle explains to her, like, no, that wasn't you. Basically, what happened with my mom is something that was inside you, but it's not in you anymore. I can get rid of it. You know, you can come back. We can be a happy family, because he promised his daughter that he'd, get their family back together again. They could be a happy family. If she promised to, work hard to be at school, trying to, because he wants some normalcy back in her life. It's like, after everything she's been through, she deserves to have a normal life, and he wants to give that to her, and that starts with him tracking down Allison. And so he did, but talked to her, but she's like, no, I can't. It has to be up to you to protect her now. Like, you can't protect me anymore. I guess saying, because in her mind it's like she feels like she's already crossed the line she can't come back from, because at this point in time she can't trust herself. Maybe that was her at the time, but she still, it doesn't matter. Like, she remembers what she did, and so she can't erase that from her brain anymore now that she knows, and she will never be able to trust herself. At least that's how she views it. So she's like, you have to be the one that raised her. Just move on without me. And, Kyle doesn't want to, but he doesn't know what to do. And then at the same time, we have Megan's story of her just being kind of still dealing with the whole Donnie situation, still struggling with it. And at the same time, also finding out she's pregnant. She wants to get rid of the pregnancy, but Mark talks her out of it. It's like, we barely can make ends meet before, like, dealing with everything. Now, only one of us is working because you got fired. But Mark is like, no, I got a new job. We can keep the baby. Basically, we need to keep the good times rolling. Like, we've had crap luck so far, and it's like, I need some good luck in my life. So this baby's going to be kind of a new, fresh start for us. We can come together, move past this. I know it's been rough for us, but we can come together and be happy again. We're not going to let him take away all of our happiness. And they were happy for a moment. And then you finally get the little twist at the end of the episode. It's like, hey, and now Megan's possessed. It's like, crap. The moment that happened and she started looking blurry, I was like, don't tell me. And then Mark walked in. I was praying with it. I was like, okay, we're just going to be normal. It's going to be okay. And she bashed his head into the window. I was like, no, okay, please just be okay. Nope, got a piece of glass in his freaking neck. I was like, no, Mark. Because constantly throughout this episode, I was thinking, is Mark possessed? Because he's been a lot friendlier to Kyle. But I guess it's because, the situation, it does seem like the situation off screen was kind of explained, because we saw them having dinner together last episode, so I'm guessing off screen it did happen, like her Megan explaining everything to him. He even helped him out this episode, kind of breaking into Allison's house. He's like, the good thing about being an ex-cop, because Kyle didn't want to go in because of the restraining order, because it would just let him into deeper crap. But he, Mark helping him out and everything. I was like, Mark's acting a little too friendly. He just acted a little differently. But granted, it is because he found out the truth about Kyle. He's like, you and Megan have been through some crap. Finding out about, Megan's truth as well as finding out Kyle's truth. He's like, I've been so rough on you. He's like, no, you were only protecting your family. I'm not going to fault you for that. And Mark is like, it's crazy what a man would do to protect his family. Both what they've done, Kyle lying about what the whole situation, taking the fall for what happened to Allison and to Amber, and at the same time what Mark did to Donnie's son. But then he was just there bleeding. I was like, please let somebody come there to help him. And then Megan just pulled, she basically put her hand in the blood and started playing with it, and then pulled the shard out, and he just bled out. I was like, poor Mark, poor Megan. Because if this situation is ever reversed, she won't be able to forgive herself knowing what happened. Because remember, it was said that the first couple of days are rough for them. They don't really know how to control themselves. Hence why Kyle's mom did what she did, why Allison did what she did. Their little vibe, they haven't completely melded together with the person that they landed in. It's just, unfortunately, the person they landed in was Megan. And at the end of the episode, we hear Amber calling Kyle, telling him it's like what happened with mommy. So now he knows his sister's possessed. I was just screaming no the entire time that thing was happening. I was like, no, because you see her standing over a dead Mark, and then you see her turn her head because she hears some noises, and I'm like, the kids are in the house with her. Oh god, that sucks, dude. It really, really sucks. And at the same time, we had the sheriff at the beginning of the episode. He basically sort of kick the fire chief and his wife out of town, being like, I said you can be happy and stuff like that, basically I'm giving you the chance to get that happy life that you so-called want with this version of your wife that's not really your wife. And basically we still don't know what it is, but apparently Sydney gave them a job to do. Fire chief was a little reluctant to do it, but his possessed wife convinced him otherwise. So I don't know where to go on that front, what that will mean, what will that lead to. I just have no idea. And finally we had the Reverend kind of apologizing at the end of the episode, saying like, yeah, what I'm doing ain't working, we need to come together. If I finally, after so much time, finally admits, yeah, I'm jealous of you, Kyle, you have this power. And Kyle's like, power, it's not a gift or anything, it's a curse. Basically, everyone in my life has been like affected by this. I've just kind of been a magnet to all these people I care about, and it's done nothing but destroy their lives. He's like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. He wants to try and do the right thing. He wants to fix everything, but he just doesn't even know where to begin. I mean, truth be told, he's not even trying to fix everything. He just wants his normal life back. But sadly, at this point, there's no way to get it back. I mean, this all comes down to, what does Sydney want? Why is Kyle so important to these things? What is their end goal? Because basically, the fire chief referenced him when he was telling the sheriff, like, you should stay out of stuff you don't understand. Because basically saying times are changing. Like I said, Aaron alluded to it because it was a message from Sydney. Basically, it sounds like a large number of them are going to be crossing over soon. And I think the ultimate goal is to blend both worlds. Whatever world they're from, bringing every one of them from that world over to this one. And I believe Kyle is important. Whatever happened, I don't know what happened to him when he was a kid. The whole situation when the thing that came out of his mom, and it looked like it was choking him. I don't know whether it fused with him. Like, what if it came inside of him, but it didn't like completely fuse with him like it's supposed to, like, because he is abnormal, because he is the quote unquote outcast. Or maybe being an outcast has to do with that thing. Maybe that thing is inside of him, but it hasn't completely taken control. Maybe that's why he has the powers he does, that he can pull them out because of the thing inside of it. I mean, granted, we don't know that it possessed him or not. I don't know. All we remember is Sydney telling his mom, being like, oh, your son doesn't even realize we already have him. He thinks he's here fighting us, but we already have him. And it's like, what does that mean? I don't know. There's so many questions still left unanswered. I mean, granted, we got a better understanding of these things, like how they operate. The fact is that they get in random bodies. Like I said, unfortunately, Megan ended up being the body they chose this episode, but it does make you wonder how this is going to affect like the whole Donnie situation. Will this Megan kind of leave things like kind of just walk away and end up coming across Donnie, and Donnie's like, hey, Megan, and then she ends up killing him? That might be one route, because it's just like, because to me, that's still a situation that's left unresolved. It's like, this whole Donnie situation. I think that's going to happen. I think Megan's going to come across that Donnie, but he's going to come across at the wrong time, and she's just going to straight up kill him. Or, he might be in a situation where he's just like, oh, hey, trying to talk to her about the situation, and then she's not really understanding because she's not herself, and ends up killing him or beating him down and torturing him. So I don't know. It could possibly go that route. Next week is the season finale, if I'm remembering that correctly. I didn't look at it, but I think so, because there's only supposed to be like 10 episodes this season. So next week should be the season finale. So I have no idea what will go down. Like, will Kyle be able to remove the thing from Megan? I mean, but the fact of the matter is, it's early in the stage too. If he removes it from Megan, he could easily, it could be a repeat of the Charlotte situation, or a situation like his mom, both of them being in that kind of comatose state. So it's just, what can he do? I mean, he's going to try and get Megan back. And even if he does get her back, she's got to live with the fact that she killed her hubby. It may be worse, because we don't know what she did to her daughter just now. Like, let's not forget about her little girl and Amber. Like, it could be a repeat of the situation with Allison, but much worse, because Kyle might not be able to get there in time to stop her. I don't know. Like, things are spiraling out of control. Things are getting worse by the second. And because the crazy thing about it is, even though things are this bad, things are still on a small scale. That's what makes it terrifying, because it's like, things are happening on such a small scale, and you're already messed up like this. Imagine with like a whole bunch of them coming over to this world. Things are going to get very chaotic. I mean, because lately it does seem like they are only focused on Kyle's life, like people immediately in his immediate area. And granted, it makes sense because we found out before that he is like a light. He is kind of like a candlelight in the darkness, and he kind of gives them kind of a ballpark on where to land. So maybe that's why, sadly, Megan ended up getting chosen in this episode. But it's just, I hope Kyle is able to get to get to Amber as well as to Megan's daughter in time, because it also makes you wonder, how is this going to affect Megan, especially now that she's pregnant? That's going to make things worse, because it's like, yo, your children are going to have to grow up knowing like, oh yeah, I did that to daddy, essentially. And plus Megan's going to have to live with, we see how Allison is handling that. Even if Kyle is able to save her, like, she's still going to have to deal with that. And what about Amber? It's like twice this has happened now. First, it was with her mom, now with her aunt. She's never going to trust anyone again, especially after Kyle promised that he was going to protect her. Dude, it's just, what is Sydney's end goal? Like, what is it that he's got the fire chief and his wife, Kat, like, doing? Like, is this a situation that Kyle and the Reverend really can fight? Because the only people really fighting this fight is Kyle, the Reverend, and the sheriff too. They're the only ones, because no one else knows about the battle. I feel like someone, like that lady that was on the Deacons, basically, that was kicking him out, that blonde hair lady, the youngish lady, I think she's possessed. She was a little too friendly with Sydney, in my opinion. Granted, maybe she is just kind of got blinders on like everyone else, but I get the feeling like she might be possessed too. And that's the thing about the show. You don't know who's possessed. Even because, they have a knack of acting normal, yet they kind of act a little off their rockers a little bit, like out of characteristically acting like themselves, but at the same time, it's like, you won't really notice it because they hide themselves so well. Like Mildred hid herself in front of the Reverend for so long. Granted, many did, just because they make themselves seem so normal, except for the first couple of days because they're just like out of their mind. So it'd be very interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised Sydney's past still hasn't come up yet. I guess, granted, maybe the sheriff didn't have enough time to really process him last episode. That's the reason why, like, his past of what he's done has never really come to fruition. Come out, Maybe that's also because the last person that was involved, he let the boy go. Maybe that boy was his first victim, and so there was no one else, maybe the boy is too terrified to say anything, or he didn't remember, because there was so much trauma, he didn't remember Sydney's face. Or maybe there are other people Sydney had done that to, but he doesn't, there were so many people but he took care of them, like the boys are dead. So I don't know, like it could, because like it's just strange to me that never came up. But like I said, I think that he might not have been in prison long enough for them to process him, because it's probably a lengthy process getting all the information on him. Plus the sheriff was preoccupied with trying to do his best to help out the Reverend, being like, I know what this guy is and what he's trying to do. So I don't know. Just so many thoughts kind of racing through my head about all this. Really won't really know what's going to happen until we watch next week's episode. Like I said, I strongly do believe it is the season finale, and I'm crazy. I'm serious. Like, I'm curious to see how they're going to end this. Like, where everything's going to land at the end of the season. But that's really all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live like the force, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.